name is Blue Pixeling, and tonight we're doing, well, the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Yeah, you're not exactly watching a replay of this here stream. There's actually been a new version by a new dev team that essentially takes the original and adds a crap ton more to it. So I'm excited because I was a fan of the original Stanley Parable, so I managed to grab it and put it into my library day one. So I might as well stop blabbing and start playing. Oops, that's the wrong one. There we go. Okay, let's rock. So, if I can just quickly put up the game here. Crows, Davy Den, however you pronounce it. Current time. There's my mouse. Currently it's 3:05 over here. Hang on. Before we can start, can I just say something? Thank you for actually setting the clock both times you booted up the game. A lot of people don't take that step seriously. They just leave the clock set to 12 o'clock and call it a day. I actually appreciate taking the time to set the clock, and I appreciate that. That's how I know that you care about this experience. You're paying attention. I don't even know any way of knowing the times you're setting are correct. Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Since you've been so cooperative, next time you boot up the game and see the screen, set the clock to your favorite time. Go ahead, pick whichever time you want, even if it's not the correct time. You've earned it. Alright, let me get you back to the video game now. Yeah, I initially had to do a fresh save file, so that's why you're seeing the set the clock second times screens. So actually, hold on a moment. Just need to. Oops, too far. So I can. Actually, I'm gonna have to. Oh, that looks terrible. There we go. Now, hopefully, Streamlabs is. Yes. Actually, gotta adjust this a little bit. There we go. Okay, we should be golden. So, why don't we start off the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe?
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, so this first playthrough here, we're just going to go ahead and play this straight here. Follow the narrator and what, you know?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Yep, door on the left, which will essentially branch out into multiple different choices and whatnot.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Yeah.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Nevertheless, actually, I don't think I have actually shown this in my original stream of this, but you can actually go into the executive bathroom now. It's not like a roll of the dice sort of thing anymore. That's still locked though. That's still a roll of the dice.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845.
There we go.
But of course, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck.
Amazing. Yes.
He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Yeah. Down we go.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Alright. Stepping through this corridor
Stanley
here.
walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Alright, so we push this button.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
I've actually never seen this game so beautiful before until I played this game, you know? I mean, that's kind of the wonders of the technology advancing in the years.
Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Oh, there's my number, 427. Yep, there it is. Yep. Okay. This button.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away.
There we go.
And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Okay, now that we tried this game out straight on, how about I show you a new ending that's been added to this game, shall we?
All of his co-workers were gone.
All we need to do now is head up to the boss's office.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either.
Yep.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping, coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Boss's office, trying to get to the...
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Let him do his spiel here until he speaks out the code.
Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad,
there we go.
Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck.
Right.
Amazing. He
now
stepped
the path
into the
here
newly opened
to this
passageway.
new ending here. Go down the elevator. Wait. Oh, just skips us right to it. But now, to achieve this new ending, turn around, go up.
Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
And now we're back up. And behold!
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
Alright. Now we go back down.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
How does he do it? And back up.
Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No. It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
And alright. Back up. And
Oh my God. It's the boss's office. This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a timeout here for a minute while I process this.
oh, hands up. Gotta let him do his thing.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm
there
ready.
he goes.
I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No, wait. No, I need more time to process.
Okay. Yep. I love this ending, man.
All right. I
Okay,
have fully
he's
come
good.
to terms with it.
He's good.
I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
Okay. Down
Of
we go.
course, going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it? I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it. That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive.
Mm-hmm. Alright. And guess what? We're going back up again.
You know what? I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow?
Mm-hmm.
There
Nice
we go.
and slow.
Isn't this so much more exciting? You know, Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started. But where's the tension? Where's...
Wait, hang on. I gotta see Streamlabs real quick here so I can actually see chat. Okay, I'm
It's
good.
the trust in the audience
There we go.
to
There we
build a
go.
slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters. Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises? To have to think and to anticipate and then to marvel at the eventual reveal. This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years. And it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley. I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not pandered to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley. Because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know?
Really?
People look up to you. Which is why, oh, I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you, so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh, good, we're here.
Oh, good. Okay. So,
Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be
all
just around the
eyes
corner
on
here somewhere.
Stanley. Live on stage. World's healthiest human being. All tricks revealed. Yeah. How we did it, the pyramids. Live, the guy who went to Mars. I like this one. It's the generic stock white guy over the pyramids of Giza. Okay, an evening with World Peace Baby.
Ah, yes, here
Yeah,
it is,
more posters
just
for
through
me.
this door.
Stanley Parable Stanley. A Q&A with the world's first sentient machine. Man's my
All right,
cousin.
are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't worry. You'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley. Okay, it looks like they're ready for you. Go get 'em.
Alrighty. Looks like they're ready for me. Oh, wait. An audience with the dude who came up with pizza. Oh, wait a minute. Doing great. A conversation with Alexander the Great. Oh wait, there's... Hang on. Right. What's that? Lord Meet and Greet. Featured keynote speaker. I didn't even look at those posters before. No. Anyways. Showtime. Okay, that was the elevator ending. Hang on, my mic's too close to my face.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting
Alright,
room.
let's
Perhaps
see.
he had simply missed a memo.
What else can I do here? Oh? New content! I was waiting for this!
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Oh baby, new content!
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful.
All right, you
I'm
ready
very
for
excited
this?
to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Okay,
so far
elevator.
it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally,
Right,
at long
at
last,
last.
it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
At last. Yes. Peeking a little.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if them... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
New
All
content. It's the
All right, let's see. It's
the jump
the
circle.
jump circle.
Press the base to jump. Ah, yes. This is riveting. You want? Yep. No, I'm expelling all my jumps. And I'm out.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness.
Another elevator.
Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And
Oh,
wait.
There's more.
There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it.
Yeah.
I'm ready for whatever it is.
And thank you, Enjoying, for the new content. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna adjust my mic a little. I'm in the red zone here. Gotta be in the yellow. There we go.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid.
Attack is
It could never have
Crow's
lived
time.
up to such expectations.
Crow's
If you're
X3.
still with me,
You know,
why don't
their
we just
handle.
reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills. No gimmicks.
Because
Just you and
the
me
devs are
having a
crows,
great
crows,
time
crows
together
this
like
time, and not
always.
Galactic Cafe.
What
So
do you say, friend?
still, actually, the games I have that are essentially either developed or published by Crows, I think published by Crows, are essentially like veritable con me games, because I also have Trevor Saves the Universe in my library too. So whenever I plan to stream that, I do not know. It's probably going to be a VRX thing.
Psst.
It is a
Stanley,
VRX thing. I don't know.
Come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Ah, yes, the vent. Always a good sign in a video game. Wait a minute. What did I just see? Coffee nut.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret.
Whoa!
Take a look.
Okay.
I
Behold!
call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can
Beautiful.
relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
There was a collector's edition on this game, was there? So if it, let me try that again, because if there, I've actually not exactly heard anything about a Stanley Parable collector. You know, I'm going to search that up now. Hang on. Stanley Parable Collector's Edition. Huh? Yep, there it is. It's made by IndieBox. Currently all sold out, but hey. Should probably check out the rest of their wares and see what's what. Yep. An audience award for the 2014 IGF. Yep. Oh, and yes. Look at this. This is actually meant to be... Yeah, this is what is it? Is a BAFTA award meant to go for well, the actors for the actors in The Last of Us, but they just hastily put tape over it for the Stanley Parable. And 2013, when the Stanley Parable was released. Memory, don't forget the Stanley Parable. Yep. The greatest wealth is memory. Bunch of stuff from 2013. My first kiss, my first car, the release of the Stanley Parable in 2013. Ah, yes. Oh, that's right. Yeah, the original game was technically a remake. So, because like it was like I want to say either like a Half-Life or Gary's mod that essentially was the original Stanley Parable. I'm not sure if it's one or the other, but because my mind is saying Gary's mod, but I could be wrong. Yeah, smile because it happened. Trip down memory lane. $1. Oh, the demonstration! I actually played that once. It was actually really funny. Yeah, an achievable and achievement. Go up. Don't play for 5 years. I really should have gotten on to that, but maybe because I really screwed myself when I actually streamed the original one. Anyway, nominees. None of them are actually winners. RIP. New York Times article, Los Angeles Times article. Oh yes. Remember that time I died? And hang on. Little Stanley. Oh.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? every game ever
created.
That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It is an
Hang on. Time out. Hey, when I first played this, I assure you, my mind was not prepared for Kevin Brighting to say Persona 3. I really wish I could stream those games, you know? I don't know, but
even the Stanley Parable
Atlas,
anymore.
so
It's just a husk.
Atlas is kind of
now.
tight in their
A
properties,
lifeless
so.
husk with an hour of new elevator content.
And, oh yeah, over here. These are they're the original games awards, because Mod DP, Beak Sushi, Design Museum, IGF. Hang on. Fantastic Arcade, Indiecade, IGF, IGF again. Let's see here. Oh, that's right. That one of the endings had Minecraft in it and Portal. So, yeah, and Portal. There it is. There's screenshots from the game, the original tile screen, the fabled 2 doors. Yes. Oh, the buttons. Person of the year. What the heck? Is this... I'm not going to say SketchUp, because this is obviously not SketchUp, but I think it's in the same lineage. Because, it's part of the Pro thing, so... Well, I guess this was it. This was the stuff all in the collector's edition. Yeah. Played on a Macintosh. Oh, the blue and red doors. And the ever-famous mantra, the end is never the end is never the end.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Okay, yes. I believe the narrator isn't exactly bullshitting here, because I think both the reviews from Destructoid and GameSpot are, in fact, the real deal, so I think, at least. Anyway, the source engine... Don's famous for repeatable carpet textures. I guess that was a thing. The heck? What's that doing in there? Anyway, oh yeah, that's from the demonstration. Oh right, we gotta go, Oh, there's a door over here. Oops.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait.
Hang on.
Hang on.
What's this?
I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
And,
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews
yes.
were glowing as well, weren't they?
I remember the game being overwhelmingly positive when it was a thing, but... here's a negative review.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
I just, I'm thinking here. I wonder how, like, I want to say embarrassed the original, like Bug Livio over there. So, like, they literally just got called out in this game. Okay, yeah. There's a positive one, but that one's blurred out. And
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record.
I guess.
I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't... I'll say this right. It's not exactly a perfect game, but it's one of my favorites, at least. It's the humor that kind of gets me going here.
What's this one got to say?
This one from Cookie 9.
You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
A skip button?
A skip button. Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley.
What's going on here?
That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Alright. A skip button we want, a skip button we shall have.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof.
Poof,
okay,
yes.
Welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself. Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room.
Where'd the
Stanley,
door go?
The door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week.
Oh,
Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single... Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year.
A year?
Sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year. Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret.
Speaking of regret. Oops. No narrator, I guess. Alright, push. Ah, shit. Ah! Where the hell is that coming from? I don't want to deal with that.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It was...
I guess, yeah. Alright. Give me the button again. Give me the button. There's no one here. Ah!
The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end,
is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end. Okay. Alright. I think he's gone fully insane and he's just... his brain is keeled over. Oh! Okay. I see how it is. We're in death and destruction and ruin. Oh, good. Light. Okay. Give me that button again. Ah. Ooh. That's lovely. And it's gone. Shit. What the hell is going on outside? Demons! They're after me. Nope, I don't want to deal with this. Skip. Oh. Okay. Oh, a way out! Yes! Oh, no. It's a wasteland. Oh, boy, what have I done? How long have I been in that room? I want to say 10,000? 100,000 years? Oh, I'm still... Yeah. That was an ending. And we're back.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
And, oh, new content. Good.
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Alright, back in the elevator we go. Yes.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this Ultra Deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this Ultra Deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2.
2! Yes!
Yes,
2.
you see, Isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions.
Yes,
this
two.
is what fans
Dos.
have truly been
Zwei.
asking for.
Ooh, and tasty, yes.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement
fancy-looking.
right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Another tool, yes. New content is out. New content part 2 is in. New stuff. Cool red section. They're back. 2 doors. Oh, I didn't see this. What's... More and better is a win-win. Yeah, and they really seem to fixate on the color red for this one. Yeah, I appreciate this one. As a graphic designer well, as a learning graphic designer myself. Self-appointed is actually the proper term. Oh yes, the ferns. To Stanley, yeah.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
I guess if you put it that way, I guess that's kind of true. Alright, to the showcase. Yes! Behold, Stanley Parable 2!
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Alright, let's see what we got here. And, exclusive. The button that says the name of the player that's playing the game. Yes!
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Really? Alright, push it.
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here,
Yeah.
let's have you
Blue.
role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
And...
Jim.
Yes!
You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again. Do it again.
Yes.
Jim.
Oh, yeah!
It's even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money.
I'll
Let's
take
get a
your
break from the
entire
Jim
stock.
button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
Yeah. Okay. Enough fooling around. Let's see what's out here.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable too. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Okay, let's see what we got here. What's in here? No screenshots? Red is the new orange, yep. Consistent quality with just the right amount of change. And, 315, yeah. No screenshots. What's going on over here?
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
If everyone just celebrating their 12th birthday, that would be kind of weird. But also kind of funny at the same time, so...
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get Well Someday it is.
Hey! That's not what I wanted!
Maybe I should have gone with...
I guess.
No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
Okay, let's see. Well, whoop, gotta adjust. And, oh, the jump circle's back.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well.
Oh, right.
Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
Ooh, a free, new, and easy achievement. I can't believe it's that simple. Pull a lever, receive a new achievement, no more steps. It just works. Yes.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
Alright then.
Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist.
Come on.
Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm
okay.
not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen. What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Let's see here. Took care of the jump circle. Collectibles, that's new. Oh.
Ah, Collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
I don't like that. Oh, God. Collect. Nice. No reward, though.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
The infinite hole. Ooh. I just came from there. Oops. So yeah, over here. Ah, yes. That's kind of complex for my brain here. I don't have enough processing
here's an idea
power
that I'm truly
think
fond
about
of.
that.
It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Ooh, a bottomless pit. Nice. Well, down I go.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
Okay,
Great.
that's enough.
Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Yeah. Let's move on, shall we? Now. Yeah, because I think, yeah, that is in fact like a really deep hole, like infinitely deep, so, yeah, he ain't bullshitting here. Anyways, Saints World Champion. Ah, yeah, that's connected to an achievement. I'm not gonna go through with that whole thing, you know? What's in here?
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Yes. Now, undoubtedly, I would feel like the most important feature within this sequel here, the reinsurance bucket. Not a lie, not a meme. This is the key to new endings.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable
I
was
think
that it was confusing and
yes,
paradoxical.
it is.
That it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
Ah, yes. The bucket.
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of
Shiny
crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Yep. Yeah. This bucket is your key to unlocking Side B, as I call it, of the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, or Stanley Parable 2, as we now call it now, at least. Okay.
Does anyone give out awards for most
What
enjoyable
else have I
bucket in a
not
video game?
done yet?
That really should be an award if it isn't already.
You know what? Actually, I'd like this. I'd like this shirt right here. I'd actually wear that, unironically. You know. All right. What else? What else am I missing here? Okay, here's a map. Jump circle, map, free achievement, button that says the name, merch, setting world's champion, reassurance bucket, office decoration, epilogue, collectibles, infinite hole. Yeah, I think, yeah, we've covered at least everything. So, let's go ahead and exit. Wrong way.
All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Yep, I think we're ready to move on.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Okay.
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's
There
sort
might?
of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Order
this is
kinda
much
matters with
better.
this,
I feel
so-
good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
That looks
Who
worse.
am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait,
Hang on a minute.
maybe that's
that
it.
might be it.
I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead.
All right.
Take a look.
Are you ready? This is the Stanley Parable 2. Yeah, honestly, I think there's... It's simple, but I love it. Anyway, let's begin again, shall we?
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay, excuse my silence for that. I had to pull up a guide right here for a minute here.
All of
because
his coworkers
what
were
I'm
gone.
thinking for
What
this
did it
stream
mean?
in particular,
Stanley decided
I
to go
should
to
cover
the meeting
at
room.
least
Perhaps he
the
had simply
bucket
missed a memo.
endings. Behold, here he is.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
For now. So for the bucket, we're gonna need to do this. Yeah, the first ending I have here, we need to do this game straight again.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Yep, trying to do freedom ending, as the original game calls it.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Hold on a minute. I remember from my previous game. I'm not going down here fully, but what I am here for
You found one of them.
Is
One of
this?
the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Okay, now we got that Figly, as I call it, at least. So we gotta go upstairs to my boss's office. Actually, wait. Wasn't there something in here? Yeah. Yes!
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
I prefer Figly myself, but hey. Okay, now we gotten that Figly taken care of.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even
Shiny
now,
bucket, though.
in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845.
Bingo.
But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Ah, you. Give me that.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Figlies, my dude. It's short and sweet and to the point. Down we go.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Yeah, okie dokie.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Button here.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Another button here.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
And this one here.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well?
Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
Alright, here we go.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter, his one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Yeah. Okay, that's one ending down for side bucket. Side bucket.
Stanley and the bucket
Side B.
waited in blackness.
Why didn't I?
Was
Hang
it
on.
over?
I may actually be a genius here. Side B. Side B for
Yes,
bucket.
they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and
Huh?
What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Boom, that's another ending in the books. Alright, let's see what's over here. Who's on the phone?
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages.
Okay.
If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please...
Give me that bucket.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
According to my guide, next is the bird video
Stanley
ending.
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest.
So
and
basically
entered the
what we
door.
did last time, except we turned the machine on. I'll tackle that once, Actually, wait. In between that, let's try out the broom closet ending with the bucket.
Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over.
Oh no.
We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your
What?
relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
Do an interpretive dance to...
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go.
Oh.
There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
Nice.
Coming to a staircase,
Actually,
Stanley and the bucket walked
hang
upstairs
on.
to the boss's office.
I'm gonna do things out of order in my guide here, because this one would probably be faster.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest
I
of
wish
hours,
I had a
did
mechanical
the bucket's
keyboard.
warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer
Okay.
luck. Was it the
So
bucket
it's
key
a
all
continuation.
along?
What I'm
Was
trying
the
to do is a
bucket
continuation
guiding
of
him?
the
Yes. This
elevator
is certainly
ending.
the most logical explanation.
So, as you know, go down, go up. And up we go.
Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
Yeah. Push the button. Okay, go, 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 go. Let's push that 3.
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the... Wow, he said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
Down.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
And now I'm about to do a King of Skill and do it again.
No, 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 said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing.
push.
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears, and the whole time he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all, only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator. Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be?
Another one.
"Ah," said Stanley. "I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart." He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work. For months, he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything in his life. This was
3.
it. One last chance to win the bucket over. One opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one.
Alright. Ready for this?
There was no one here. Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved, uninteresting. He was a failure. And in that moment, Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference. There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
Damn! Okay. That was not something I expected. Oh.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced
Ta-da!
the bucket.
Whiteboard ending. Okay, let's see. Okay, magical guide, what are we doing today?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Alright, back to my initial plan.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always.
Okay.
The bucket would. And he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual that Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
If we could get down.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Wait a minute. Hang on a moment. I'm trying to see what the guide is.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Back to my
The
initial
monitors
plan.
jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter, his one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
Hang on. I just realized that guide isn't exactly very good.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this... But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen.
Birds!
Silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
Got flamingos. Chicks.
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him.
This
Hummingbirds?
wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility
Toucan.
for monitoring and surveilling
Honk,
city
honk,
birds
goose.
all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along?
Bet.
Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible
That's a pretty bird.
discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found
Owls.
freedom because they spent the rest of their lives
Ducks,
here in
parrots.
this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
See the goose. Okay, okay. Shoot. Sorry, that was my phone.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he...
Okay, bucket,
Warmth
bucket.
spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was
Nope.
home.
Hello? Oh, there we go, there we go. I lagged for a bit. Alright, this time,
Stanley clutched
let's
the
go to
bucket
the
tightly
right
to
this
his
time
chest
and check out
and
some of those
entered the
endings.
door. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Ah, I actually found a better guide.
No, never mind.
Hold on a moment. I gotta scroll down to... yeah.
The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Okay, let's try out what initially would
And
be
so
the
the two of them
confusion
detoured through the
ending.
maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
What? Actually, screw the guide. I can do this myself.
Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because
Why?
we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Okay, let's follow the line again.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Oh. Yes.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about.
Hey.
Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue? Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up. Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
I can't. I can't do that.
Now
Turn this thing off.
It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure,
Where's the
I
off
can hear
button
you
on this
saying,
thing?
how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and... The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Okay, let's see here. I feel like for this stream, I think we have time for 2 more endings. 2 more bucket endings at least.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself, that's all I need. If I can make it through this door, Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone.
Yeah, both of my ideas are coming from the right.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Because I think
And here it was.
I should probably do
Had the
the
bucket turned out to
side
be
bucket
correct?
for
Never mind. The bucket was wrong.
for the colored doors
Stanley took the
ending
door on
and
his
the
left to go back to the
color
meeting
door
room.
endings
No,
Said
and the
bucket.
phone endings.
don't go to the
Phone
meeting
ending.
room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
I at least want to do
Stanley
the
did
color
not
door
question
endings
why or
ones
how
first,
this
because I
bucket
think
was
that one's
speaking to
shorter.
him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk.
Okay.
But
1,
Stanley
2,
chose not to think
3.
about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked. No, stop.
Oh.
Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Okay, I wanted to do this first because this is kind of one of my favorites here. It is time for everyone's favorite game show. Is this a bucket?
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
This is not a bucket.
Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 2. Is this a bucket?
This is a bucket.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Correct. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket?
This is not a bucket.
Correct. This is a tractor and not a bucket. To be honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much for you. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one. Is this a bucket?
Believe it or not, this is a bucket.
Correct. This is a bucket. Item 6. Is this a bucket?
This is not a bucket.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
Trick question, yes.
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing isn't a bucket. Wait, when I say nothing isn't a bucket, that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is not true. Unless... Is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket?
A bucket is everything, but everything is not a bucket.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence, and yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go.
And it's gone.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay?
Alrighty.
And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
You know what? I have an idea. I'll extend this session by one more ending because I just got
wind blew outside
because
and
I
perhaps rain
just got
started.
another
And
idea.
if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
Actually, I have an idea. We'll take care of the Figly ending, and then do those two
When
endings
Stanley came to a
that
set
I've
of
been
two
talking
open
about.
doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Because I know that
Perhaps he
I
wanted
know
to stop
where
by
the other two
employee lounge
Figlies
first,
are.
just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Alright, follow me. I know where these two are.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired
Believe it or
years
not,
ago.
our next figure should be out over here. And
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figurine Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figurine Marines. None of us can.
And because of this, I've accidentally locked myself into one of the new endings here. Let's take care of that too.
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun.
You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
Okay.
All of his co-workers
And I
were
know
gone. What could
where
it mean?
the last one
Stanley
is
decided
too.
to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Yeah. Both of them do not require the bucket.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Yes.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Okay.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Now we
I'm
need
not
to enter
sure.
in here.
Really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact
Actually-
is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
What? Really?
I think
I was in the
from
middle
what
of
I've
something. Do you have
researched,
zero consideration
game-
for others?
the
Are
other
you
game's
that
ending
convinced that
is
I want
brand
something
new to
bad
this
to happen
game,
to
too.
you? Why? I don't
So
know how
I'll
to
do that,
convince
too.
you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Yeah. Like
And
this.
there it is. The last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Okay. That's all of them here. So let's take care of the other game's ending.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You
And
see? There's nothing
ta-da!
here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you?
Correct
Do you
me
not
if
think
I'm
I
wrong.
put a
Are
lot of
these
time into
source
that?
textures
Because I
here?
did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
I actually remember that I saw once that when playing this game as well, Super Wii Bros 8, he soft locked himself in this hallway.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now,
Thankfully,
tell me
I'm
about
not
your
him,
experience
so
with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
I'll be honest, 4.
Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Clearly there's something here that speaks to you. If I can be honest here, I really don't have any idea where I'm going with this. This whole third door thing was just a stab in the dark. But I guess you're into it, so let's keep this party train rolling. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Worldwide leaderboards. Ah, yes. Anyways, I'll say this. I'm not really a big fan of worldwide leaderboards in games, because, it just, it just demands you to play more of your game.
Would you say
know?
that competitive leaderboard helps you
inflate-
feel motivated?
I'll pause here because I need to get this spiel out of me right now. So, I'm saying this because it really adding a leaderboard into your game is essentially like inflating a game that really doesn't need it. So, I mean, I'm all for new content and more content and whatnot, but just not adding a leaderboard adding a leaderboard to your game, especially when your game doesn't have enough to begin with, where it's like a small contained experience. It doesn't work. It does not work.
To keep walking through doors.
So,
again, honest answers, please.
I'll give that a 3.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Yeah. I really don't have 4 hours of my time right now, so let's move on, shall we?
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Hey, let's boot her up, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my god.
Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation?
It's Firewatch?
Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Hey, let's see what's out in the world of Firewatch. Is it Firewatch-er? I don't remember. Anyway, I think it's a fantastic game, actually, from what I've seen.
No, it can't be.
Oh boy, an open world game.
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off.
Oh god.
Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh,
all right.
Thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay.
I think we're still in the woods, though.
Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay. I think this will be just the thing.
Rocket League.
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed. Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley,
in a
I
way.
think it's sports ball.
In a way,
oh,
yeah.
What fun. We shall run the bases and do a
Sports
touchdown
ball of
together.
cars.
Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Oh, the ball. I'll play for blue team. Use my head. And...
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a thought. And I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple balls makes for an even more euphoric sports experience.
Come on.
I'm going to try it out. Here comes another ball.
Oh, another one.
Yes. Oh, goodness, that
I'll
really
try this
does
one.
feel amazing, doesn't it? Stanley, I'm like a child in a confectionery shop. I simply have to have more. I'm
All right, let's try it with this one.
More balls.
And it's good! Whoa! God, I'm actually really fast for this. Whee!
Are you enjoying this, Stanley? Are you having fun? Is this a real video game? Well, I sure hope you're having a good time, because guess what? It's over. That's right. Your little fun comes to an end. This is my game, and what I say goes. You get to have fun when I let you, Stanley. Besides, you need someone like me to set boundaries for you. Without rules or boundaries, video games are nothing. Yes, that's what I am. I am structure. I'm your sense of purpose. And since you decided you didn't want to play my game, now I don't want to play with you either. So, goodbye. Hold on. What are you doing?
Goodbye. And boom.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
And we're back in the original mod. 3. Gotta reach my original office. And 427 is over here. Ta-da! Okay.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it, down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Yeah. Okay, since we're kind of short on time, this shall be our last ending. The Figley ending. I think that's what's going on here. Ah, yes, it is.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines. Those Figlers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love
we're
nothing
going back
more
to the
than
memory
revisit the
zone.
figurines. Just one more time.
Now remembering when Stanley found the collectibles.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
And right over here.
And here was a second Stanlerine. I'll be honest, back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways.
I think the ending actually depends on in what order you collect them. That's actually kind of neat.
Let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
I think that was the boss's bathroom.
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here in the boss's bathroom. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
And we're back out.
Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
I think your memory might be a little fuzzy there, chap.
This was the 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was in the warehouse. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
Oh my god. I think the video is actually different. depending on how you collect the Stanley, the Figlies. Oh my god, that... I just realized... Okay, this ending is kind of a bit genius. They've planned for this. They've planned for this.
I spent
Because
a lot
last
of
time
time making
I
that
think
video, but it was
last time I played, I think I collected the 5th mini Stanley by the blue and red doors.
minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
That is genius. And there's a maze of curtains here. We find the 6th.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figly and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
And we're here
And
in the
then
present.
there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, Memory Zone.
Hold on a
no,
minute.
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that
And now we get to do it backwards.
Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going, I want more. And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched? Yes, I love that video.
Still think your memory's fuzzy about this room.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
8 out of 10. Great room, mate. I rate 8 out of 8.
These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have neutered the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Yep. Next.
This was our second Figly. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going.
And the first.
This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the Figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
Yeah. The jump circle.
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look, oh yes, the two doors! Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one.
The illusion of choice.
And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions, he would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Okay, but unfortunately I think that's all the time I have for now. So, I feel like I should leave you all on one last note before I end for this stream. Thank you all for joining me, and next week shall be the continuation, hopefully, of the Portal 2 Co-op Chambers. I'll see you all on the flip side. Pixeling out. Okay, I felt like that was a successful venture. Time to call it a day. Who's calling me now? Hello?
Hey, Blue.
Oh, what's up, Tay?
I'm recording something. Want to join?
Sure, I'll be right there.